So now it is my pleasure and my privilege to walk you through meetingTRAC. To give you a quick background to why we developed meetingTRAC. So what we realized is that we had been pushing and pushing our Word templates, and we had tried some other platforms instead of Word for those templates to work. And we found that we could push them no further. While a Word template is handy, it doesn't do the work for you. So it doesn't do the reminders. It doesn't automatically send an email to somebody when we assign them a task. It doesn't give us a simple way to follow up on all of the things that we wrote in our minutes from the last meeting. How do we go and check those without then having to have a whole heap of paperwork? It also means, being cloud-based software, that there is only one version of the agenda and only one version of the minutes. If I send it to you, that's a copy. How do we know? Because you didn't log in and see it in the actual copy. So when you go to meetingtrac.com.au, if you haven't already set up an account, just click on the free trial button here and register there. It's really simple to register. When you do register, it won't let you do anything though until you try and set up a meeting, and then it'll say, oh, tell me about your organization, so that you can actually put your organization name in, so that it will automatically populate the agenda and the minutes with that name. So I have set up a little club admin account here, so I'm going to log straight into that. So club admin, there we go, and log in. So once I log in, it's going to take me to a fairly simple dashboard. So here in our scheduled meetings, I can see all of the meetings that I've got scheduled coming up. So there's also a calendar view if I want to look at what that would look like and see the meetings that are coming up on each date in the calendar. But either way, and the dashboard view then creates a little snapshot in there as well. So when you start, you'll also have nobody in the system. So the people who go into the system are called our members, our meetingTRAC members. And so you can see I've got some good friends in here: Neil, Alan, Virgil, and yes, these are astronauts, not Thunderbirds. And of course, Dr. Claw, because I am Inspector Gadget. So we've got to have our Dr. Claw there. It's good to have a villain in every club. So now you can simply add new members by clicking the add button, first name, last name, and pop their email in, and any details that you want to record in the system as well. Of course, if you've got lots of people and you'd prefer to do that all in one go, then just click on the import tab here, download the template to begin with. It's literally a 4-column Excel spreadsheet, and you fill that in. So I will just choose a file off my desktop, which I've already done to import my members here. So I'll select this one here, and there it is. So there's my members list, and I simply click import. So that's the list that I use, and literally to get these 9 people in took me as long as it took to type those email addresses. It's certainly very quick to be able to do that. So once I've got my members in there, then from anywhere I can go and click a new meeting. But before I do, I want to go and check out my templates, because as you've just seen, we've got our templates. And I've shared those with you for the AGM tonight, and we shared them with you for the management committee meeting agenda and minutes last time. In meetingTRAC though, you can have your own template. So if you want to start with ours, but then make it your own, this is how you do that. Simply go to the settings tab here, and this is where we've put our club name in there. So the settings right down the bottom, if you want to update your logo so that it will show your logo rather than the meetingTRAC logo on your minutes, you can. And then here are our templates. So there's 4 in there as standard, but you can create a custom meeting template as well. So if you want to create a custom meeting template that is as simple as meeting open, what did we discuss? Meeting close, you can do that. It's that easy. But in here, I've got templates for management committee meetings and general meetings. We'll see the general meeting one in a moment because I'll set that up for you. But the template for the management committee meeting agenda is that simple. You can see there, as we mentioned before, we've got the declaration of interests showing up here too. So there's 11 things in there. But what's not here is, for instance, how I mentioned that every application for membership needs to be considered by the management committee. So if you want that to be in your template, it's simply a matter of either seeing it here. So it is a standard item over here. So I can just click plus, and that will move it from over there to here. And I want to do that after the treasurer's report each time. So I've added it, dragged it, I've dropped it, and I've saved it. And that is it. That's my template. If I want to add if I want to rename this here, because we have a board, not a management committee, then it's now our board meeting. If I want to add a new agenda item that isn't here, I can simply click new item, and this new agenda item might be gaming reporting, for instance. So I'll simply add that in there. And we want to again do that after the Treasurer's report before we consider the admission or rejection of membership applications. That will now be there every time I start a board meeting from the board meeting template, a board meeting agenda from the agenda template. Those items are now going to be there every single time. So, like I said, pretty much from anywhere we can start a new meeting. So I will, however, go back to our home page. And from here, we're going to start our agenda for our AGM. So the reason that we've got different templates and exactly the same in our Word documents as in meetingTRAC is there are things that we do at the AGM that we don't do at a committee or a board meeting. And the things that we do at board meetings that we don't do at the AGM. So we're going to start here with our AGM. So we'll start with a template there. This will be our 2021 AGM. We're going to have this in our own clubhouse, and it's not a repeating meeting. So this meeting's coming up Saturday fortnight, so Saturday the 24th, and it's going to be at 10 in the morning, and that will finish at 11 in the morning. So we can scroll through these numbers here or jump up and down. So we're going to allow an hour for our AGM at the clubhouse, Saturday fortnight. Then once it's done, I just click next and that takes me into the agenda itself. So in exactly the same way as before we had the agenda template set up, this agenda has now been generated based exclusively on that template. So the first thing that we need to do is determine who is going to be there. So we've had these people all agree that they're going to come. Dr. Claw and Penny are both coming. Brains is coming. Okay, Brains is from the Thunderbirds. Then John Glenn's coming. Gordon Cooper's coming. Buzz Aldrin said he couldn't make it because he didn't want to be in the same room as Neil Armstrong. So there we go. We'll also add Gus Grissom as well. And we better put Alan Shepard in too, because he was administrator of NASA for a little while. There we go. So we've got our expected attendees. The meeting will open at 10 a.m. So once we've got that ready to go, and we can just click through each of these agenda items like that. So the attendance and apologies, anything else that we need to note there, remembering that it's up the top, but that's just a standing agenda item, as is our declaration of interests, as is our minutes of our previous annual general meeting. So when we get to actually running the meeting, I'll show you how exciting these are and everything else that's there. The only thing that we don't have here already, because we need to add it to our template, is what Steve talked about in declaring any financial rewards or any other payments or any other benefits provided to committee members or senior staff. So because that is a new agenda item, I'm simply going to click add agenda item, and a new agenda item will nicely pop up down the bottom here. So this will be declaration of payments made to committee and staff. And then I don't really want that down there. I want that up with the Treasurer's report. So there we go. Oh, put it in. Let's do it after the appointment of the auditor. Done. Drag and drop. Simple as that. So once we've got all of this set, and we may have some important things here. So let's say that somebody has said, let's change our club's name. That would be a special resolution. So I can again add another agenda item in here. And I'm going to add the agenda item in at the bottom as a special resolution. Change of name. Now, because I already know the wording of this, obviously it's not going to be the last thing that we do, but we will do this after the election of office bearers. So because we already know the wording of the resolution that's going to happen here, I'm actually going to add that wording in as the motion already. So the motion will be, what are we going to call it? To ABCFC Inc. There we go. So any notes that we want to include in there, we can. And because Neil has moved that, we'll put him in as the mover already. And because all we're doing now is setting up the agenda, that motion will be pending. and I'll click save. Now that motion is already going to show up here as ready to go onto the agenda. Now, because Steve's here, I'll also say if we're going to do that, there's going to need to be another one that the club secretary I'll let Steve wordsmith my wording there, but we'll actually move a resolution that the secretary be authorised to lodge the relevant paperwork. And that's also then, we'll let Alan move that one as well. So that's pending. So those are the two motions that are now ready to roll on the agenda. And that's it. Our agenda is done. So at this point, I'm going to I can send the agenda straight from here, or I'm going to preview the agenda. So I'll click preview here because then I'll send it out from there. And we can see that everything that we need to know is already there. If I had put some notes there, if we had some attachments, then there would also be attachments there. That simply shows up as a little orange download link. So rather than attaching it, anyone who's got access to this agenda can also see the attachments. For instance, the best place to do that would be the Treasurer's report here. So to actually have the financial statements here ready to go out with the agenda, and we don't need to send those because we can do it straight from here. So we're going to send that to all of the members in the system. Here's the agenda. Done. Send now. So that will now send the email with that as an attachment to all of the people who are ticked in this list. So I can send it to none, I can send it just to me, I can send it to the members who are listed in there, I can send it to everyone. So that's gone. If I now jump over and check out what's in Neil Armstrong's email here, notice his address, first on the moon. There we go. Here is the email. So this is what it looks like as it comes into his inbox. It's a nicely formatted HTML version straight in the email. So you don't have to even click on a link or an attachment to see that. But if there were any links, they'd show up in here nicely as well. So that is it. Now in our scheduled meetings, we see that we have the AGM. So now we're going to jump forward in time. It's now the 24th of July. So we're going to actually run our meetings. I'm going to view the agenda items here, and that will take us here. When I'm ready to turn these from an agenda into the minutes, I simply click convert to minutes. What that now does is it now locks that agenda and says, right, that's the agenda. So now we've sent the agenda, that's it. We're now working on the minutes. So the meeting will now show up in meeting history because we've converted it to minutes. I'd like to go and then edit those now though. So you can either click convert to minutes at the start, or you can do that at the very end of the meeting. So from here, now we can actually run the meeting, and I want to show you how easy it is to run this meeting. So are we going to allow Dr. Claw to chair the meeting? Okay, Dr. Claw opened the meeting. Welcomed everyone. And acknowledgement of country. There we go. Please forgive my terrible spelling. And that's it. Move on. Attendance and apologies. Right. Now, what's important here is that we've already got all of our attendees up here. Sorry, I forgot to click that. Yes, we have a quorum. But in here, what we can actually do is remember, just because it's got this motion button, meetingTRAC serves as a great reminder tool. The motion wording here is that the attendance record be received and a leave of absence be granted to any apologies. So the chair simply calls for somebody to move that motion. John Glenn moved it. Gus seconded it. The motion was carried. Done. Recorded. That's it. Move on. Declarations of interest. Does anyone have any interest that they need to declare? None declared. Next. Minutes of the previous annual general meeting. So from here, again, let's have a look at what the motion is. Would somebody like to move that the minutes of the previous annual general meeting be confirmed as a true and accurate record? Note any amendments in here. Who moved that? Neil moved it and Gordon seconded it, and it was carried. Save. Done. Motion added. It's that simple. Then we've got the business arising. Again, because it's on the agenda, we remember to do that. Now, what's great about this tool is that there's this little button here that allows me to bring in the business from the previous meeting. So rather than having to go and check last year's agenda and last year's minutes, if I click this button, I can select any previous meeting that is already there, and I can scroll through the list here to the last AGM and select that meeting, and then all of the tasks and motions from that meeting come straight in as tasks and motion under business arising. So if there's a task in there and it's still pending, right from here, we can mark that task as complete. So that's a really handy tool that allows us that makes life easy for us. The president's report, again, this is the sort of thing where we should have an attachment. Now, if the president does have it, obviously our preference would always be to have written reports. We can simply drag and drop a file right here. If we've already uploaded the file into our files menu over here on the left-hand menu, then we can select that from the list here. But it's a great way to not only have that file in the system, but also connect it exactly where it needs to go to both the agenda and the minutes. Again, what's the wording of the motion here? That the president's report be adopted. So Brains is going to be the president here, and John seconded it. It was carried. There we go. Save. Again, simple as that. What's next? Treasurer's report. Okay, again, we've got the attachment. So let's attach the treasurer's report and the audit report and the financial statement there. What's the motion? That the treasurer's report and annual financial statement for the 21 financial year be read and adopted. So I don't remember who our treasurer is, but let's let Gus Grissom move it and Al can second it. And obviously, great questions were asked and answered because they're doing everything right. There we go. Save. Next, appointment of auditor. What's the motion here? That auditors be appointed as the auditor for the, and this will be the 2021/22 financial year, and they are our auditor, so I can adjust the wording there. There we go. Moved, seconded. Those in favour, those against, the ayes have it, carried, passed. Then we continue with our declaration of payments made to staff. We didn't have any this year. That's it. Move on to the next one. Subcommittee and other reports. Details in here. Again, what are the motions in here? That subcommittee reports and other reports be adopted. So if we want to do those all in one go, the motion wording is all there, ready to go. Moved, seconded, carried. Next, election of office bearers. Right, so here is where we can put in all of the details of those people nominated and those elected. What I would do here is use motions to say election of office bearers that elected president, and we can go and do the same thing. Moved. So we spoke before about nominators and seconders as per the Constitution. Nominated details, seconder details. Those in, oh, Ed Buzz is not there, so he can't move it, can he? Gadget, carried, and save. Now just note though, notice that I could still select Buzz, even though he's not there, because Buzz could have still moved a motion to put it on the agenda. Somebody would then be able to overwrite that when we then go to change it. So here we open this up, and the club changing its name that we put on the agenda is already here. All we need to do is go and open that. So I could have actually pre-prepared those motions that we knew were coming, like the appointment of the auditor, because we knew who that was, like the treasurer's report, we knew who that was, like the president's report, we knew who that was. So for the, what have I been here, about 13 minutes now, and I'm talking as I go, so I'm probably going a bit slow. The whole thing is done, it's prepared, so it's designed to save time. So we have all of our discussion details in here, and Neil moved it, Inspector Gadget seconded it, and we've had that carried by special resolution, which means a 75% majority, if you remember from your Constitution reading days. Save and done. So then we've also had this one, it was moved by Al, seconded by Dr. Claw and carried. There we go, save. Now, because we've got some work to do now, I'm going to add a task. So we can add tasks anywhere we like, but there's an important task here to go and lodge paperwork. And that's a job that we're going to assign to Neil Armstrong. There's Neil. So we'll leave Neil. If you like, I can actually put multiple people onto the same task. But this is easy enough, so we're just going to leave that one for Neil on his own. And he's got to get that done by, let's say, next Friday. Oh, sorry, on the 21st. So we'll give him the Friday the 30th. Save. There we go. Task added successfully. Now, straight away, if I jump back over to Neil's inbox over here and refresh, we'll see that Neil has been added a task. New task assigned. Hi, Neil Armstrong. A new task has been assigned to you. There we go. So there's all of the details it's all of the details that we need in here. Go and lodge paperwork due on the 30th of the 7th. When you've completed the task, meetingTRAC admin can update the task status to complete. So as soon as that's done, we can simply mark that as complete and it's done. If I go and edit this task and say new info in here and click save again, it's going to ask, do I want to resend the email? So if I've made any significant changes in here, I can select yes, and then that will resend that email. Otherwise, if there's nothing significant there, then we don't need to worry. And because we've now reached the end of the meeting, we actually finished at 10:30, I'll say 10:35, done. And that's it, meeting closed. So now I'm going to preview what the minutes look like now, and that's it, complete. These are the minutes, nicely formatted, who moved it, who seconded it, whether it was carried, whether it was lost. There's our motion there, who moved it, who seconded it, carried, motion detail. Scroll down here to our task detail, go and lodge paperwork. There's some new info. Neil needs to do it by the 1st of August. And then we mark that one as complete. That's it. I forgot to make a note there of who actually closed the meeting, so I could go back and edit that, which I will do. So I'll show you how I'll go and do that now because I didn't quite finish it off. So I'll go and click that. Next, and scroll right to, gotta remember who opened the meeting. Dr. Claw opened the meeting. So Dr. Claw closed the meeting as well. Done. Now, sorry, go back to have a look at the meeting history here. So if I want to send that out again, all I need to do is click send the minutes. And again, I get the same options here. Do I want to send it to everyone who was in attendance? Do I want to send it to everyone? Do I just want to send it to me? Or do I want to send it to those that I select? Here are the minutes. Send now. Now, the reason that you'll see this says loading here, the reason that it's then goes back to say I can send those again is I might want to send it multiple times from here. So I might want to put a different message to different people and then click send now. And so that I've got the ability to do that as we're tracking along. The final step now is next year. When we jump ahead, when you read in your constitution, it says the minutes of the management committee meeting need to be signed by the president of the meeting or the president of the next meeting. The minutes of the AGM need to be signed by the minutes of that meeting or the minutes of the next one after they've been approved. So we know we had item number, what was it, 4, that the minutes of the previous meeting be accepted as a true and correct record. Once that's done, we can now sign the minutes. It says that the minutes need to be signed and then stored in the minute book. Well, watch me sign these minutes. I am Dr. Claw, and I confirm that I'm the chair of the meeting or the subsequent meeting where they were confirmed, and that the minutes are a true and accurate record of the proceedings. Done. Those minutes are now verified. So if I preview those minutes, they will now be complete and verified, and meetingTRAC is our minute book. It's an electronic minute book, and there is our verification down the bottom, the last step. As you can see, I really enjoy a good opportunity to talk through software
You
that
enjoy.
we like. And
You
I
enjoy
hope that
meetingTRAC as much as I enjoy
I
constitutions.
think so. So I hope that that's covered off on a lot of the questions that people may have. But Steve, did I miss anything while I was going through there? Any good questions
No.
you want to go through?
Oh, sorry. Yes. You've missed a few good questions, some of which I've typed out some answers to. One good question from Theon that's come in the last moment. If a president or chairperson changes at the vote, should the outgoing remain the chair for the remainder of the AGM?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We say that typically we would say yes. The best bet is that the outgoing committee actually stay on until the close of the meeting. So the incoming committee take up the mantle after for the next meeting. The reason that that's important is that there may be questions that arise depending on when in the agenda you've got your elections. There might be questions that come up about the financials, for instance. And if the treasurer has stood down or been voted out, then the new treasurer won't have the answers to those questions. So it's best for the continue with the status quo until the close of that meeting.
One more good question. Technicality in meetingTRAC from Damien. As a club with 700 plus members, would we need to re-upload all of those members into the system each year?
Great question. No, definitely not. Look, you could. I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't. I suggest that what you do is you limit the members of meetingTRAC to the members of your committee. So if you want to then send the minutes or the agenda and the minutes to everybody, and there's too many, then you can fit, and then you're managing multiple databases, and that's never any fun. So if you have the database as the membership register in meetingTRAC as your committee members, then once I, as the administrator here, and I'm Inspector Gadget logged in at the moment, I download a copy as a PDF, and then I simply attach that and send that to our membership database. So that's the easiest way to do it.
Awesome. And that's it.
Wonderful. That is great. Thank you, everybody.
Some really good questions.
Yeah, and thank you, everybody, for the opportunity to do that little presentation. If you'd like to know more, go and set up an account. Go and have some fun. It really is that easy. It has been a real journey to get here, obviously, as these things are. And my my passion for meetingTRAC is matched only by my naivety in thinking how quick we'd be able to get this done. So it was great fun to be able to get it to this point. But we are working literally every day on updates. So we've got some really exciting things coming for meetingTRAC, including the ability to have sub-accounts that are subcommittees underneath the main account. So we've got some great things coming up. Some of these will roll out fairly quickly, but there's a development plan that takes us at least a year into the future. So once you've subscribed, all of the new features just come straight into your account as you go.
Sign up for a 7-day free trial today. Visit meetingtrac.com.au.